Welcome to the Building and Growing podcast. We're delighted to have Paul Clark with us today. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, Lucas. How are you?
Good, mate. I'm enjoying the 32-degree heat outside.
It's a lot cooler in here.
Yeah. Beautiful day. Beautiful day to be down in the studio or out in London.
Yeah.
But look, Paul is the founder of the HSE Global Series and has very kindly travelled down from Bath today. Is that right?
Yeah, Bath.
Yeah.
Sunny Bath.
Lovely.
It's not actually as nice in Bath as it is in London.
Yeah.
It's still sunny.
Yeah, my mum always tells me to go there, so one day I'll get there, right?
Beautiful,
Hit
me up when you're there.
Can have a beer,
Yeah.
That's it. Hopefully on a day like this.
For sure.
But look, Paul, thanks so much, for coming down. I'll hand over to you to do an intro about yourself and your background, so the audience can, hear it from you.
Yeah, of course. Well, where to start, really? So my name's Paul Clark, and currently I'm the owner and founder of an events company called HSE Global Series. But my kind of background stems from sales and marketing, really. So I've been I was a director of sales quite high up in my old employer. Worked in North America, Malaysia, Australia. I did a lot of work in Australia and of course the UK as well, from where I'm from. So my journey, just to be honest, started from a young age of PR and out in Ibiza, realising that I was actually pretty good at getting people into bars, of all things. But it's like my father told me, he was like, you're a natural born persuader. You're good at having good conversations with people. Yeah. And, I was good at bringing people into bars, and that was my job, and I was getting paid nothing to do it. But got back and, I joined a publishing company, which was pretty old school boiler room style advertising, selling ads. Yeah. And got a taste for it was all phone based work, just talking to decision makers and selling adverts. And then we moved to events, started doing sort of sponsorship sales, and I was there for 11 years, so I got a really good understanding, 360 view of like what good events look like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then sort of left on good terms, but with new ideas, and started my own events company. So, there's a lot of other stuff that's gone on, from personal side and along the way. From I'm a DJ and producer. I've done loads of other different little kind of sidetrack hobby-based businesses that just don't work, but like the main kind of crux of what I'm focused on at the moment is events, and running really high-end events in what is the industry that we serve, which is health, safety, environmental, and sustainability.
Fantastic. Yeah, what an intro. And I mean, it's great that you've been able to work all over the world. I know when we first spoke, you were mentioning Wall Street and, the old events you used to organise down there. And it was great to find out today that, you're a DJ and you were able to check out the studio.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a mix down in a minute.
Yeah, that'll be sick. The first one we've had on the podcast. That's fantastic, Paul. And thank you, again for taking us through that. So let's dive into HSE Global. I guess sort of what is it, and what made you, move towards that after, such a long career in traditional events?
HSE Global Series is dynamic content, well-drilled, well-tuned, content-driven events. And when I say that, it's built around the industry, by the industry, for the industry.
Nice.
So I'm going to break that down even further. There's being an events company or not a health and safety practitioner. Mm-hmm. I come from the specialist area of being able to do the job that I'm good at. Mm-hmm. I'm not a health and safety practitioner. I never pretend to be, right? So I'm an event specialist. I'm a sales and marketeer, and I'm great. If we go back to when I was a PR, yes, I'm good at bringing people together. I'm good at getting people talking. I'm good at creating dynamic platforms and engagement services that can help people all have a voice.
Yes.
So the Global Series is that platform. HSE Global Series is a business-to-business EHS events business that's driven by the people of EHS to help improve safety, reduce incidents, and save lives. I accelerated in my old employer. We were predominantly CXO style events, so CIO, CTO, CSO. We did do some industry vertical summits within my old employer that were fantastic as well. One of my favorites was actually mining.
Oh yes,
I loved the mining industry. I think that was the thing that actually, funnily enough, thinking about it, is quite a good resemblance link to why I chose health and safety. First of all, was because those industry markets like oil and gas I did a lot of work in, but mining. And I'm not saying that CXOs aren't real. Of course they are, but like there was just something I related a lot because before I was I went to Ibiza. I was my father's a mechanic, right?
Okay.
So he was in industry. So like there was something about these people that were in industry that I could really relate to, and like there was just a connection to it. I can't really explain it any more than that. But mining and other areas that we served, it was always sort of C-level audiences and servicing and supporting their requirements. And a lot of the old employers' motive was to accelerate conversations with potential solution providers, like that would be able to factor in and support them with their projects. And it was fantastic what they were doing. It was really good, and I'm really, really grateful for the time that I had there. I started doing a health and safety event for them, and it didn't work out. It did okay, but like I think there was a sensitivity around EHS that I saw that maybe my old organization didn't see, and that there's not just an opportunity for accelerating conversations with EHS business leaders and potential solution partners, tech partners, PPE, all that kind of stuff. I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
There's actually a much deeper opportunity in being able to support these guys, a much wider opportunity. Like I call it a dharma. That I saw these people in health and safety are working in a profession which isn't just about taking their salaries and doing a job.
Yeah.
They were in it for something more. And that for me it really like struck my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not just about their day job. They really care about people, and they really care about planet.
Indeed.
And funnily enough, it linked into, like, I think me and you talked about this, and I'm always very candid and very honest, right? Like, I worked, in Wall Street. I was, banging the drum, hitting the phone, selling, sell ice to the Eskimo kind of stuff. And, really as a salesperson, you're driven by you. It can be quite a selfish profession in some ways, and I'm not saying I mean that with all due respect to any salespeople, but like it was, or certainly I was ingrained that it was about me. If I made more money, I could have this. If I did well, I could go further in my career. Me. And it came to a point where I actually turned to faith, turned to Christianity.
Yes.
I actually met a Swami. It was funny. And she turned round to me, and it was out of the blue. I actually was down near Torquay. So I'm going off subject here. It's
That's
important.
all right.
It links in. I was down in Torquay, and she sort of looked me in the eyes. I never met her before. She looks me in the eyes, and she goes, "I need to tell you something." I was like, "I don't even know your name, right?" And she goes, "You have taken everything you can from this world. The world can only take away from you now."
Wow.
Oh, I just shuddered with
Goosebumps,
fear.
yeah.
I was like, oh, so something's got to change. And it was funny, that was just about around the time that I made these decisions. So again, going back to these safety professionals, they're there, they're doing their job, but it's more than that. And I thought, I want to do more for people and planet. I want to give back. Right, so the health and safety market, I sort of did a lot of research. Right, I explored all the events on the market. I went to a few trade shows, went to a few conferences, and it was just kind of tote bag style, get around, collect pens. You got people from all around the world, and it just didn't have any. What's the word? I don't think purpose isn't the right word, but it just didn't have any heart to it, right? And so I wanted to change that. I wanted to create events that were meaningful, that can drive change, that can impact the people, that can impact planet. And then, I think the turning point for me was, this was back when we first started, and bear in mind the rate of incidents and fatalities in the UK has actually increased, which is really scary.
Yeah.
Back when we started this nearly a decade ago, there was a plateau.
Yes.
It was a flat line. So we're now going up.
Yeah,
with the technology that's on the market, with these amazing minds and academics, like we're in an industry as well, right? This is the other thing. In a profession, in health and safety, when you're in CXO, you're not going to see the CIO of HP talking to the CIO of Dell.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that. They'll talk, but they're not going to disclose or support each other due to competition.
Indeed.
But in health and safety, you get a health and safety director of Coca-Cola or PepsiCo in the room together. They're learning from each other. Yes. They want to share wisdom because in turn, they're all in it together to save lives.
Indeed.
And that for me, that was the turning point for me. That was why that's why I made that decision. After the research that I did, I saw a lot of events. I saw a huge gap in the market for a powerful events format or events platform globally that can make a real difference to the profession.
Fantastic. And I mean, we're in London today. You mentioned you got an event coming up in the north, sort of in October time. Where do you host them? Yeah,
so we've got too many events.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. We've got 8 events around the world. So we've got UK. We've got UK North, UK South. We've got MENA, Europe, North America. And then we've got a global sustainability event that we do in the UK. Nice. And then we've got a retail supply chain event. Did I mention North America as well? So North America, Europe, MENA, UK North, UK South, sustainability, retail supply chain. Oh, and Canada.
Canada. Okay, nice. Yeah.
So we're doing a Canada event in December. We did it last year. It was really successful.
Fantastic.
Really well.
Yeah. So I guess you're spending a fair bit of time on planes, helping I guess people be safe all around the world.
Oh yeah. I mean the travel side of it is, I'll be honest, it doesn't bother me too much. It's me and Katie sometimes. That's my wife. She's my business partner as well. So we sometimes sort of take it in turns a little bit because we've got 4 children.
Yeah.
It's a real demand, right?
Indeed.
We're a small business. And when I say small, it's me, Katie, and a few contractors running 8 events.
Yeah,
GDS, my old employer, they used to probably do 15 events. So they're not doing much more than us.
Yeah.
They've got 200 people in the UK office.
Yeah.
So it's a huge demand.
Indeed.
But we have, we went into this year with the sole purpose to grow the company. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't for anything more than, I guess, my kind of ambitious vision. It's called Global Series for a reason.
Yeah.
It's like my goal when I started is I want this in every continent around the world. I even wanted it at least one-day events in places like India and some of the more developing regions. I've always wanted to do Africa as well, but it comes a time, and that was the reason why I went on this growth journey this year. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's been I think anybody. I spoke to somebody the other day, and they were like, there's talking about employees and trying to find the right staff. Recruitment is so hard. It's so hard. And when you're a small business and, we didn't put any equity into this company. We started this company with literally with a phone, a secondhand laptop out the back of my dad's shed. Yeah. It was literally like a Wolf of Wall Street story. I was in a little shed.
Yeah.
And just when, and it was, we were living hand to mouth. And we started it with a vision. And just went for it. But, I do still see that as a vision one day. But where we've done now, we accelerated forward. COVID really disrupted us. It really caused us a lot of carnage, in terms of, we're a physical events organizer. We had to go virtual. Yeah. When we come back from that, we didn't realize how much the world was going to change because of COVID.
Indeed.
It was so disruptive. And it still is, right? People we were talking about this earlier, like majority of people not working from offices anymore.
Yeah,
like,
indeed.
Some of the most critical industries are still working, like they were working through COVID. But when we came back and we started doing events, we saw a huge downfall. And like anything, like I run a lot of music events, and I was expecting to come back and there be nothing.
Yes.
It was like everybody came back and said, I'm going to run events.
Yeah.
I'm going to run an event. There's more events now than there's in a lot of different industries. Certainly in health and safety. I put this online the other day. There's more events now than there's ever been before. But the problem is nothing is different, and it's the same in the music industry as well. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why the music industry is suffering so badly.
Yes.
Is all the small events, there's nothing different. They're just putting on the same artist, same act, same, there's nothing stand out. And it's this, or nothing that is really changing the industry. Mm-hmm. And that's the same in health and safety.
Got you.
And that is put us in a position where next year, coming back to the 8 events, we're going to consolidate down to 4.
Okay, wow, far out, yeah. And so you've been going for 10 years. I think you mentioned that before, which is a long time. And anyone that sort of visits your website will see a wide range of leading logos, of businesses that you work with.
Yeah.
So I guess you mentioned the secondhand laptop and the phone, but how did you build up that network that you've now got?
It's a great question. You've done this before.
I think this will be episode 81.
Oh, jeez. Good question, right? So, I mean, it is just hard work and just relationship building.
Yeah.
Getting the message right, like, our message now from 10 years ago has changed dramatically, because when we came in, we had something really, truly unique. Mm-hmm. And we were, I think it was James Pomeroy from Arup had said to me, he's at Arup, he was at Lloyd's Register. He got on stage at our first North America event and I'll never forget, he just goes, these really are something very special, talking about the events.
Okay, yes.
And that was back on the old format, which was... not to go deep into it, but we had a very just unique format. If people want to know what the format is, you should sign up for an event. But like the old format was really unique. We hit COVID, and then when we went into coming back to events as normal, we were on the old format, and then we had to change that format. So like we have over the 10-year period, our key message of differentiation was what was bringing people in.
Yes.
And building out those kind of logos and those support networks and those communities.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, when COVID happened, it was like the whole slate was wiped clean.
Yes.
We had to start all over again.
Yeah, far
so, out. But on the sponsors, they're not called sponsors anymore because our attendees pay.
Yes.
Because we bring in world-class outside of industry keynotes like Simon Sinek and Tim Harford and Matt Syed. We've got Amy Edmondson coming in for UK North in Durham. Fantastic. So our audience now pay to attend, and then our partners, who are the solution providers, pay to come and exhibit, speak, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So but what's really cool is that I'd say, almost 80%, 90% of all those solution providers that are on our website, they've been with us since we opened the doors.
Fantastic.
There's not a lot of organizations, or certainly events companies, that have that kind of accolade.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of that, and the company is really proud of that. And, sometimes some of them will take a break, but they always end up coming back.
Yes.
Because they know that every year as an events organizer, this is the thing that people don't understand. I see people that are in the profession, and anybody could do what they like, right? They can go and start an event, they could do an event, and they've all got the right reasoning behind it. But making it stick and making it actually become a part of the profession's armory.
Yes.
Of this is an event that helps me be better. This is an event that is making my business better. That is hard. Indeed. Like, it is hard. And then there's always like COVID will come out of nowhere, smack, and you're trying to, you get momentum and you have to reinvent it. Like, it's hard. This is a full-time thing.
Yeah.
But these events get popped up. They're the same as the other one that was the last month, or somebody else did one over in Germany, or somebody else did one in the UK, and someone's done one in Asia, and they're all like the same. There's nothing different. So it puts a lot of strain on it's not a big market. Like health and it's not, there's plenty of health and safety professionals, but it's not a big enough market that we need to flood it with that. And that's not me being against anybody starting events. Go for it. But like it needs, but this is the thing. If I see an event come up and it's really got something different and cool. There was one down in New Zealand, right? And it was wicked. Like I saw it and I was like, that is cool. The content was cool. The format was cool. They brought in students for free. Yeah. They were letting students come for free, so it was helping the profession. I'm like, that is wicked. I stole that off them. I was like, steal with pride. I was like, what a brilliant idea. I'm going to do that.
Indeed.
So, that for me is where, we need to, as a business and as a profession right now, I think we need to, like, a less is more attitude. And that's where we're going with the company, with the 4 events. And with this new format that maybe we'll talk about a bit later.
Yeah, fantastic. And, you've mentioned, I guess, safety professionals a few times now. Do you ever sort of co-create the events with them or engage with them based upon, learning from them so that you guys can make the events just top notch?
Yeah, so, we came in with this advisory council. It was very unique again back in 2017. It was a staple of what we did. So like we would, we build those relationships, like you said, about all the logos and the community that we've built over the years. We built that community up, but we utilize that community as kind of our non-official voice of what do you want? What subjects are the most important to you? What do you desire in terms of learning?
Yeah.
To help you be better at your job, to help fix problems, and also, do you know what, like, to give them time away from the day-to-day, because it's hard. Like being on site, these safety professionals are working around the clock, dealing with problems and issues a lot of the time.
Indeed.
So like we want to utilize their minds as the artists, as the specialists, as the people that are in charge of direction and strategy for safety, health, environmental well-being, sustainability. We want to utilize their minds to be able to construct programs that wow the profession, but most importantly make a difference.
Yeah,
that's the key.
Yeah,
and that was the annoying thing going back to the research. I'd see people and I'd speak to people after the events. The minute they got back to the office, what have they learned? And I used to say they'd stutter, they'd stumble, they'd be like, this is not our events, this was another event. It was actually, I can't really mention their name, but I asked them, I said, like, just out of interest, because I got your business card at this conference, what did you take away from it?
Yeah.
And he went, and the minute somebody does that, you want somebody going,
gone.
I get emails from clients after our events saying, straight up, this is what I got, this is what I took away. I had an email not long ago from a client 3 years down the line, because these projects sometimes take time, right?
Indeed.
Saying that we've accelerated this project due to a customer that we introduced them to. Like, it's just good. That's the stuff we need to make meaningful impact.
Indeed.
And that's what I believe events should be for. Impact, change, transformation. That's the key.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And look, I mean, I guess, like you said, health and safety professionals are so often in that sort of day-to-day. And one thing that, I guess I didn't realize until I was more involved in the industry was just how important it is for health and safety professionals to be able to influence and impact within the workplace, because, they're not, like, if we talk about mining, health and safety people aren't the ones, you know, laying the explosives every time. They're not the ones operating all the cranes, but they've got to be able to, you know, provide messaging and processes that are simple and digestible, so that the people carrying out those, you know, dangerous tasks are able to do so in the safest manner possible.
Yeah, totally. And this is the thing that I've always kind of struggled with a little bit, although I'm starting to understand it, because I'm not a safety practitioner, but I am a consumer of safety, right? So like I've been an employee for many companies. I've been in industry as a mechanic. And you know, I've done all sorts of jobs where like everything we do involves health and safety. Even just walking down, getting off the train, like you know, walking through the train station, walking down the steps, like holding on the handrail, and these kind of things. Like there is an onus on our own personal health and safety. But what I find fascinating is this kind of new view of, you know, how we, you know, it's not like moving from a blame culture. You know, if somebody does something wrong, and creating fundamental culture that can help change and transform how we view safety and health, and well-being. You know, well-being, a huge issue for you know, somebody that's a mental health sufferer, and I coach a lot of people with mental health. You know, creating the right culture where people are not afraid to make mistakes, I think is really important. So, you know, I think there is an element of, you know, the EHS leader is in charge of that kind of structural direction and strategy, but the people on the ground, like, they are just as important. And this is the thing, right? We were a senior leadership event for many, we still are. Like, we get a lot of, you know, directors, heads, and VPs, right? But we're open to all. We're fully inclusive to the people that are you know, on the front line, responsible for, you know, actually doing the physical work or the mental work, all the way up to the people that are in charge of creating the structure. You know, so because I think that's important. So, you know, we are represented. Funnily enough, with the Canada event, we're in touch with the Ministry of Energy and Mining at the moment. It's not confirmed, but we're hopeful we're going to do a partnership with them. And what they want to do is see a lot of the actual mining guys that are on the tools at this event, which I think is pretty cool. You know, like we've never done anything like that before, and I think it's important.
Indeed. And look, I mean, that's a great segue back to, I guess, you know, like the format before that you mentioned about bringing in students, you know, for free, you know, and so I guess it's kind of like, you know, is this a change that you've seen within the events industry?
Yeah, that's a good question again.
I don't want you to go back to Bath and be like, "Oh, I went down to London for a podcast and the guy was rubbish." You know, it just you know, asked me where I bought my shoes from.
I'll be going back fast asleep on the train. No, it's fine. No, yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Like, it's all around. Like, our events are now called the Learning and Development events. Right, this is all part of this evolution, and I think the evolution of events is so critical. Like, if we expected the old format to still be relevant now, 10 years later, it's like anything, right? Like, how many iPhones are there?
That's
in the past 10 years.
Even like, the past 1 year.
You've got to keep up with the pace of change, and people want. There's content every day. There's a new challenge. It's like Simon Sinek, the infinite game. We play the infinite game. There's no end. It doesn't end. The game doesn't end. It's an infinite game. We live and work in an infinite game, and EHS is an infinite game.
Indeed.
Right? So, you know, we had to evolve the platform and the event in such a way that it was dynamic, but it's all about richness for development and learning. Like, and I can take this as somebody that's, you know, I'm 40 this next month. What month are we in? July next month.
Awesome. Happy birthday in advance.
Ask my wife what date my birthday is, 'cause I don't know. But yeah, so like, as I would say, since we started really seeing a directional change in the people that we brought in, we started to advance and see that we were maybe not being as inclusive as we would have liked to have been.
Yeah.
Because it just fell that way. We just sort of started, it was just very much senior leadership. So you've got people that are at the top of the food chain or the top decision makers of EHS. You've got the people that are working towards a senior role. But then you've got this and then you've got like this, remember I was talking about new view? So like you've got a lot of people that have learnt this new view, safety differently, safety 2, human performance, human organizational performance, all these new view styles of safety. And you've got a mid-level that are maybe not pulling in the new view. Gotcha. Which the new view really and truthfully is a market a lot of people wanting to go. I think there's this band of recruitment of people are more and more now than ever taking safety seriously as a potential career for themselves. So how do we nurture them and grow them in a way that pulls them into that to make the right decision on which direction they go with this, with this new view, old view stuff? That's something I'm really interested in.
Indeed.
But I also sit on the fence a little bit because I'm not an EHS professional, and I'd be lying if I knew everything about it. That wouldn't be fair. Again, I'll come back. I am a specialist in the events sector. That is my game. I stay there. But the one thing I do think is important is that we open the doors to these students, these academics, these people in university looking for a career in EHS. And we do our best as an events platform and as an engagement service, as a marketing company, to be able to help them learn from some of the best in the business.
Indeed.
So, we do it for free as well. And I can't take credit for that. It was the events company down in New Zealand. So yeah, we want Global Series to be that kind of learning platform for every stage of your career.
Yes.
Some of it could be quite overwhelming, like being in a room with Matt Syed. Like, the guy is an absolute legend, incredible speaker. And, I could see maybe how some students might be a bit bamboozled by that. But at the same time, there's going to be nuggets of opportunity that they learn from that neurodiversity stuff that is going to help them develop into the future. In fact, get them there faster.
Indeed.
So, yeah, I think, sorry, that was a long way around the question, but I just think there's a huge opportunity, and I love that. I love that kind of full ecosystem stuff where we can be a support network from top to bottom.
Yes, which is fantastic. And I'm going to draw attention to something that you mentioned much earlier on in the podcast as well, about bringing in stakeholders who might be at competing companies, but the events are also, I guess, a moment where they're able to share industry knowledge for the benefit of, on the frontline workers.
Yeah, I mean, we're also looking at mentorship as well. Like, there's a lot of mentorship that goes on, but I think the thing with mentorship is, really people are donating their time, and we all know that time, unfortunately, I was asked to mentor someone, I'd be able to find an opportunity maybe for one person. Yeah. But like, we have, sometimes we can wear our heart on our sleeve and be in a tendency to overcommit to mentorship. But just modeling one person, even if it's on a coaching call once a week. So like, we're looking at ways in which we can start like a mentorship scheme within Global Series that nice. People can put their hands up and say, look, I'm willing to mentor. And you can bring like these students into the events and give them the opportunity to kind of, like, we were thinking about like kind of a speed dating exercise. But they could go around and just kind of meet different people and see who they gel with. Mentors is incredibly important for me, and like in business and in life, right? Like so I'm strongly behind that. But,
Fantastic. And look, I mean, I guess we've touched upon in the events industry in general, things changed drastically during the pandemic. Everything went virtual. Post the pandemic, you mentioned the music industry, it's been there've been events all over the place. You've talked yourself about the Global Series consolidating. I guess this is, a much broader question, but, how have you seen the industry change, and where do you think it's going?
Yeah, oh, Lucas. As in the events industry, right?
Correct, yeah.
Well, we've already shook things up.
Mm.
Simple as that. And there's something I am going to be quite ruthless on it moving forward. Is I'm going to be a lot more outspoken about like how I truly believe the event sector, especially in health and safety, should and will be, because people have less time, budgets are tighter.
Yeah.
People have to have, if they're dedicating 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever time to an event, there has to be an opportunity for them to really implement learning something new,
yeah,
and actually going and implementing it are two different things.
Indeed. Yeah.
That, for me, is the gap.
Mm-hmm.
That is the gap. And how willing anybody can go and put on a good show. Anybody can go and book X amount of speakers.
Yeah.
Right? Anybody with big budgets, big pockets. We're not that. We're a small company.
Yes.
We turn over £500,000 a year and make a lean profit of around 80 grand. It's not big money. We're not in this for the money.
Yeah.
We're in this because of that fundamental reason I said when I left and joined, is that I wanted to make a difference.
Indeed.
I've said this every year for the past 10 years. I want to make a difference until I feel like we are. And the gap for me is that gap from taking something from an event that they, first of all, being able to learn something new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is a problem, because honestly, there's just a lot of the same regurgitated content going around, and that's why we're calling one of our kind of objectives, or certainly one of the not buzzword, I guess, kind of one of the topics that we're pushing right now as part of thread within the business, is getting EHS out of this echo chamber.
Yeah.
Where you've got safety people just talking to safety people and they're spinning the same topics. It's like, it's like having a conversation with your mate about the same, in a room. If you were just talking to your mate, you're going to talk about the same stuff over and over again. If you're just watching the same TV show and you're just going to talk about what you've seen on TV all the time, you're just going to keep cycling.
Echo chamber.
Nothing, echo chamber. You're not going to break out.
Yeah.
So like, we have to be courageous enough to think differently, learn something new, and challenge ourselves to be courageous and curious about new information and new learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that sentence you said about, important for people to learn, but also to be able to implement, to ultimately make that impact. And I doubt people or conference organizers are thinking about that. They're thinking about, let's put on a good show. And I don't mean to, use that blanket statement, but it's so impactful. So,
mate, and this is what's bothering me at the moment.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that is really important to me, and it doesn't bother me that there's more events. It bothers me that there are more events, but not enough. There's nothing different. There's nothing genuinely within the events that I'm seeing, and this includes mine until now. Yeah. I'm telling you now that this year was good, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be even. It's going to be 3 times as good next year with the plan I have,
nice, and
with the structure that I put in with my contractors and my teams. Because, if you're putting on these events and you've got 40 different speakers, that's just too much for somebody to comprehend in 2 days.
Yeah.
As intelligent as you are, like, you're going to miss something that was important or forget something. Or there's only so much your brain can take in 2 days, flat out, back to back, being talked at.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, that's where we're missing the opportunity.
Yes.
Like, we have to really think, and this is where Global Series is. So too many talks, too much being talked at, not enough opportunity for organizations that are coming and paying to have a ticket to talk. We need to give people, the people in the rooms, like you've got probably just as much power in the room as you do on a stage. How do we get them talking?
Indeed.
Like nobody's challenging that. Yes. They're just putting on. I've seen one pop up this week that's in the US, and it's just loads of big names, and it's just a replication of something that goes on in Europe, and all that's doing is flooding the market and making people with less time, with not as much time, not as much budget, and they're making them make a choice.
Yeah.
And I guess that's good, but we're missing the goal. The goal is we want to see them learn something new, change and transform so that they can impact their business and their people. They can join a lot of these people they've either seen before, they can read their book, or have read their book. So some people are using it as a community opportunity to engage and network with their mates and stuff. I think that's good. But again, are we really going to impact? So like, this is the difference, is we need to strip it back. And also numbers, like 300 people at an event. That would bother me, because I'd be probably looking for like 4 or 5 of them. And what I really want is if I go to an event, I want to meet new people.
Indeed.
And so like, if you're going because you want to buddy up with people that you usually network or don't get FaceTime with, I get that. But like, for me, I'm only going to hear the same, probably only going to hear the things that I've talked about with my friends, because usually I'm friends with them because we share the same opinions and values.
The same views.
I want somebody to challenge me. I want to get in a room and somebody go, no, you're wrong, and this is why. And I want to have good conversation, good debate with somebody that's generally completely against what I feel, so that I can find a solution, so we can find a utopian in what the real answer is to a serious issue. So stripping it all back, Global Series are taking all those fundamental sticky points that are holding back events being powerful again, and we're harnessing everything that we've learned, that everybody does. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that people are doing well, and this is nothing against the events profession as a whole, but like, I am not in this for bullshit. I haven't committed my future and every penny I have. I could walk in, I've said this before, I could walk into a global director of sales or VP of sales job on 4 times the amount of money. It's not about money. It's like, I generally think that the ego needs to be stripped back a little bit in this industry and events. I think people need to really focus on what people want and really care about how they implement that information into their business. And like, if anything, you can't lead a horse to water and make it drink, right? But you can certainly create a framework and a structure that leaves people really feeling inspired, but clearly understanding how they implement. So a less is more attitude to the subjects and the content, more opportunity to talk, and reduce numbers. You don't need 150, 200, 300 delegates. For me, that's just greedy. You need, if you go, well, maybe let me get this right. That's not greedy. That's just not the right event to make a difference, in my opinion. Because, or certainly accelerate conversations. It's not going to accelerate conversations. It's going to slow it down. That's a better way of putting it. Maybe cut that bit out. But to accelerate conversations, you need the right amount of people. You need people that have a richness and a curiosity to learn and develop. And you need to create a structure and a framework that isn't just about the event platform and the delivery of the event. Oh, well done, pat on the back, we just delivered the event, on to the next one, which is where we were. We're creating a framework now where We've got roundtables. We've got purpose-driven content that's linked to our events.
Yes.
We've got research reports, documents, information, Q&As.
Nice.
We got so much stuff so that the sequence after an event is a journey of cultivating learning for these professionals. So there's change.
Yeah.
And it impacts their organization. And then we can see those numbers drop. That's the key.
That's it.
And that's what bothers me the most about the event sector. So do I think it's going to... I can't speak for anybody else. I think brilliant if we've got more events. More events is only good, but only if the event is really doing anything of substance. And that's what I think is lacking. I just don't think anything is really... And we are included in that. Hence why I've put my balls and my family, my company, I've put it all on the line. We put every single penny that we have, because we don't have investors and we're a self-made SME, small family-run company. We've used our own money to invest into these world-class speakers, new rebrands, new marketing, new data, all this stuff, so that we can create this new concept. And I think, and we're already seeing it, because we can see when an event comes up, we can see those threads of what we're doing coming into other events. And that I'm not bothered by. That's fantastic. That's what I want to see. More events, great, but more of the right events.
That's it.
Not more events. More events is of doing the same stuff we've been doing for the past 30 years. Let's innovate.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was a long way around, but
that's all
I'm
right.
passionate about that.
You are indeed. And look, I mean, like that number that you want to drive down is the injury number. Now I'm just checking time. Turns out I set that timer 10 minutes early, so 13 past 3, which is fantastic.
Have I been talking that long?
Oh yeah, no. It went well. But look, Paul. I always ask this sort of final question about key takeaways. You did provide some excellent takeaways in your previous answer. So if you want to refer back to those and say those are the takeaways, no worries. But if there's any other takeaways that you want the audience to wrap up with, please feel free. Go ahead.
Okay, I mean, I'm speaking openly to your audience in terms of which is it's about businesses and it's about owners that have taken grown companies, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid. Money is not important as long as you have purpose. Like, what is your purpose? Like, and that's the thing that has driven me through COVID. Although through COVID, I had to be driven by money to keep the doors open.
Yes.
Money is the lifeblood of any company, but you've got to have purpose.
Yes.
That's the key for me. But that would be my one key takeaway to any business owner. And it's the same with any events business.
Yeah.
What is your purpose? Because if your purpose is to line your pocket, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You maybe you're not going to fail, but like one day you're going to turn around and go, what was I doing that for?
Yes.
You know, and I think that's the thing that I've learned is we have a purpose. Like the minute that I see numbers dropping, and that we're not gonna get an accolade on the BBC saying Global Series drops numbers. We don't want that either.
Yeah.
But we want people. You'll know when we're making a difference.
Yes.
Because people are already telling us that how impactful our events have been.
Fantastic.
Impactful is the word, not like I'm fed up. Oh yeah, it was a good event. Yeah, I got to meet so and so, and the food was good. Like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Impact, difference, and change.
Fantastic.
That's the key. Built around purpose.
That's it. Paul, thank you so much for sharing that with us today, as well as your story and HSE Global Series story. We look forward to seeing how you get on. I hope to join that event at some point in time, and have to have you back in the future to discuss numbers.
Love to, mate. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Paul.
Cheers, bud.